What's going on, everybody? My name is Bryce Cruz, aka Panel Knight. I appreciate you all clicking on my first video of many on the channel. Today we're going to be talking about some fan casting ideas I've come up with. First, over here, we're going to start with Silver Surfer. Keanu Reeves would be a great one. I know he's rumored for a while there to be Silver Surfer. He's got the low demeanor, the very relaxed way of speaking. Same with Rami Malek. Rami Malek is a very low talking, cordial kind of person. As we saw in Fantastic Four First Steps with Julia Gardner, the way that Silver Surfer holds herself in that is the way that Silver Surfer holds himself in what we saw in the old Fantastic Fours back in the early 2000s. Adam Driver as well. Adam Driver, I feel if he was to be not like he was in Star Wars with Kylo Ren, where he's very upbeat, very aggressive, but more down to earth, he would be a great Silver Surfer as well. Those are my first three for Silver Surfer. Of course, there's always more room for growth on all of these. For Ghost Rider, Charlie Hunnam is a great one. He has that rugged, rustic kind of look that would be a really good possible different take on the Ghost Rider persona. Same with Norman Reedus. Norman Reedus was a big candidate way back about a year or two ago for the Ghost Rider role. Glenn Powell, not a bad idea. Same with Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling right now is a big rumor for Ghost Rider. And then Scott Eastwood. I like Scott Eastwood there a lot, and also in some other roles here on the list. But these guys are, the last three are more of the younger, more, I would say more, not talented, but just the better, stronger look for a young actor that they could be going for. But I do like Charlie Hunnam and Norman Reedus for those roles. Next is going to be Nova. Ryan Gosling and Austin Butler have been rumored in the past. Those would be two pretty good actors for that role, I honestly believe. Jensen Ackles. This is a shot in the dark. I think he could be a good Nova, but he does have the beard, which does throw off the Nova kind of look with the clean shaven and everything like that. But young Jensen Ackles, if he ever shaves the beard, even though he is an older actor now, would have been a prime candidate for the Nova role. Glenn Powell is also a great casting, I think, for the Nova character. Now I got a lot here for Magneto. Yep, of course. Magneto, Andrew Lincoln. I did see some fan art before. Andrew Lincoln, I believe, would be a great casting for Magneto. You know, he's got that look. He's played series roles such as The Walking Dead and other roles like that. And I've seen the way he looks in the Magneto helmet and suit just looks incredible. I'm going to try to pronounce this one. Nikolaj Coster-Waldau. He would be a great Magneto. He was a great in Game of Thrones. Plays that character very well. And he would be a great Magneto, kind of giving it a little bit of an accent too, possibly. Michael Fassbender, a good old throwback from the early on X-Men. He would be a great Magneto. Everybody loved him as Magneto. And I honestly think they should bring him back as that Magneto. Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston would be a great idea, even though he has recently been rumored, and possibly the new Professor X, which I also would not mind. I think that would be a great casting for Professor X. He's played several bald roles, such as Breaking Bad and other movies that he's been in. He's notorious for being a bald actor, and he would play Magneto or Professor X amazing. Adrian Brody, very serious actor, played many great roles. I think he would be pretty good, but I think Daniel Day-Lewis would take this one all the way. Daniel Day-Lewis as Magneto would be above and beyond here. You know, Daniel Day-Lewis, one of the best actors of our time. I think that he would be probably the best candidate, being so into his roles, so enthusiastic, just over the top. Mr. Sinister. You know, we have the new X-Men movies coming out, and there's been rumors that the main villain of the first X-Men is going to be Mr. Sinister, and he'll be carried through a couple parts. Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I think he would be a great Mr. Sinister. He's got the kind of look, and you know, I think he would be perfect for that role. he just fits it so well. Same with John Hamm. John Hamm was rumored in the past when they were doing the younger X-Men with Michael Fassbender's Magneto and stuff like that. He was rumored to actually be Mr. Sinister, and I think if they bring him back, he would also look great. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, John Hamm, and even Hugh Laurie, very recent, has been rumored heavily to be Mr. Sinister for the new X-Men. I think these three are the best candidates for Mr. Sinister. They both have the same face kind of look. They both have ways of expressing themselves in a high manner of being a villain. And, they're just overall great actors. Everybody on here is going to be a top actor, I will say. And I know Marvel's going in a different direction of hiring lower actors that are not as known, and I don't mind that. But if it's going to be a top villain and you want to make it a great movie, you're going to have to cast a big named actor for a big named villain. Next is going to be Cyclops. There's been so many people for Cyclops. Henry Cavill. I think they are not going to go with him for this. He would be a great Cyclops, but, they already said that they're going to go for a younger actor, a younger cast for the entire X-Men. Jamie Dornan, great actor. I think he'd also play the role well. Robert Pattinson, possibly. I don't know. He's a very serious actor nowadays. I think he's got the look, but I don't know if he's going to actually be able to represent Cyclops in a way we'd want to see him, like James Marsden kind of did in the older X-Men. Harris Dickinson, I think he'd be a great Cyclops. He's a young actor. He's kind of what we're looking for. Is he a known actor? Yes. But is he a young actor? Yes. I think he'd be great, and he's got the look, and he can be a great team leader, and I think. Scott Eastwood, I think he would be a great candidate. He hasn't been in very many movies, or he has, but he's not a top actor, and I feel like this can really boost his career. This is what he needs. I think him as Cyclops, maybe a clean-shaven Scott Eastwood for Cyclops, is just what we need for the X-Men for Cyclops. And then Patrick Schwarzenegger. I am 100% down for Patrick Schwarzenegger as Cyclops. He would be perfect. I don't know. I've been seeing stuff as Jacob Elordi. I know he's not on the list. I don't mind him, but I don't think he's got that Cyclops kind of leadership vibe. I think Schwarzenegger would have a leadership vibe. He was in Gen V. His character, I love his character in that. I thought it was great. All right, Captain Britain. Everybody knows Henry Cavill's been rumored for Captain Britain for a long time. He's British, great British actor. He would fill that role super well, amazingly well, I don't even know if Matt Reeves is even a candidate here. I put him on there because I feel like he could play a good kind of heroic role. I put him on here a couple times. But Henry Cavill, I think, takes this one away. Now for magic. Got a couple X-Men on here, We don't have any X-Men in the universe yet, besides for, whatever universe that Photon, Monica Rambeau's character, went to, where we see Beast and what we're going to get in Avengers Doomsday. I think Anna Taylor-Joy, she's played it once already in the New Mutants movie. I think she should play it again. She just really can represent magic. She's got the look. She's got everything about her is just screaming magic to me. Amanda Seyfried, I think she can play it as well. She's a great actress, and I think it's just a good idea. Annihilus, big character coming up in the next kind of saga or phase of Marvel. He's going to be the next main big bad like the Thanos. Bill Skarsgård plays a bunch of scary characters. I think he'd be great. He can do the kind of voice that we're looking for. Henry Cavill, I think he's been rumored possibly because I know we're trying to bring him in, but I don't know what role he's going to be in. I think he could also play it. Big dude. Played Man of Steel. I think he's what we could be looking for, but I like Bill Skarsgård here, honestly, for the voice. And, Annihilus wears a mask, and he's kind of has a robotic voice. It's not like we're going to be really showing Skarsgård's face. So I think Skarsgård is the way to go for that. Molecule Man. I got a lot here. Kind of go through them quick. Adrian Brody. He could play a kind of chaotic role. Patrick Dempsey would be pretty good. Ralph Fiennes, I feel he'd be good, but he is an older actor, and I don't know if they want to go that old for Molecule Man. Michael Shannon. He played General Zod. He played it really well. I think he could be good. I think he could be really good playing a chaotic role like that. Sean Penn, again, really older actor, could play it pretty well, but we'll see. Daniel Day-Lewis, I think they should give him a bigger role. Molecule Man is a huge role, especially in Secret Wars, but I don't think he should be Molecule Man. I think he could be Magneto or something a little bit better. Robert Pattinson, though, I think this is where they go. I think Robert Pattinson can play Molecule Man amazingly well. Robert Pattinson has played many kind of skitsy characters. Like, if I don't know if any of you saw Mickey 17, this is the perfect actor for Molecule Man, in my opinion. He can do multiple roles and play them well. Blade, of course, we know it's Mahershala Ali. I made this with Aldous Hodge, kind of when Blade was up in the air if they were going to make it, and if Mahershala Ali kind of left the project. I still think that Mahershala Ali is probably going to be the best for Blade, as we just have been seeing in Marvel Zombies. He looks great. He looks fantastic in that. And I think that it's great casting. Great. I'm glad he wants to be our Blade. All right, for Rogue, don't give me no heat here. Billie Eilish. I saw some rumors in the past that she was possibly going to be Rogue. I don't know. I don't think it's around anymore. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things. I like that a lot, though. I think she can be a great Rogue. Or even a Kitty Pryde. I think that she's a great actress, and she can look the role of Rogue. She can play it really well. The only problem is if they're going to adapt the Gambit and Rogue kind of love story, and if they keep Channing Tatum around, they're going to have somebody that are about the same age, or it's going to be kind of weird, All right. Quasar. Quasar is a cosmic character. I feel like he's going to be a big part of the cosmic phase coming up here soon. Only one I can think of is Austin Butler, and he's a maybe. I think they're considering him for Nova, and there's not many actors out there that could be a good Quasar. I think Lewis Pullman with the blonde hair is kind of the Quasar look, and I don't know if there's any other really great actors that I can think of out there that can play Quasar. Demolition Man. Gerard Butler. This is a smaller character. Not many people are going to know him. I'm a big Marvel guy. I kind of know a lot of the characters. Demolition Man is kind of it's a Hulk character, kind of mixed with Wolverine. Gerard Butler. Ryan Hurst, who's a voice actor, but I feel like he could play the role really well. He played Thor in God of War Ragnarok. Played it really great. Alan Richardson. He can do so much better of a role. I kind of put him on here because he's just got the build. He's got the physique. He's got like that ruthless kind of feel, even from the show Reacher. Moving on, we have Sasquatch. Sasquatch is kind of what you think. He's from the Alpha Flight comics. Jason Momoa would play him great. I know Jason Momoa is going as Lobo for the new DCU, which I love. He should have went as that in the first place. I don't know why. In the DCEU, he was never Lobo from the start. Not saying I didn't like Aquaman. I actually liked it a lot. But Lobo is his role. Alan Richardson. I think he would be great for this role. Big, girthy kind of character. Great build. Can have a deep voice. I think he'd be great for the Sasquatch role. Travis Fimmel. I think he'd be great also. A lot of these guys kind of fill this kind of category for the way they go about themselves, the way they look, their physique. It's just that kind of persona. Dazzler. Okay, there was a lot of rumors, a lot of fan casting art that I've seen. Taylor Swift, Sabrina Carpenter. I think Sabrina Carpenter's been fairly recent. Taylor Swift was about a year or two ago. I know nobody probably wants to see these characters, but that's what Dazzler is. Dazzler is a superhero from the X-Men side that has music kind of oriented powers. I don't know if they'll ever add her in, but I think these two would be great castings. Sabrina Carpenter, ex-actress, now is a music pop star. I think that'd be great. I think that's just what they're looking for. Taylor Swift, acted a little bit, pop star. I think Sabrina Carpenter's a better option here. Jean Grey. Okay, if they're going for an older casting, which I doubt they will for Jean Grey, Jessica Chastain is kind of like the main person I can think of. Reminds me of Femke Jensen, Jean Grey in the older X-Men. Sadie Sink. Everybody wants Sadie Sink to be Jean Grey, and I do too. You know, she just got casted in the new Spider-Man Brand New Day, and nobody knows what her role is. People think it's going to be Black Cat. People think it's going to be Jean Grey coming from out of nowhere and teaming up with him. Or she's going to be some sort of Mary Jane daughter, Peter Parker daughter mix. Or she's going to be Firestar. Firestar would be a great idea too. And then Daisy Edgar Jones. I think that would be a good casting. You know, younger actress. She's known. She's been in a lot of great films such as Twister. But I think that's a great casting. Havoc. Theo James. You know, he's got the Havoc kind of look. He was great in the Divergent movies. And I think that would be a great role for him. Another X-Men character. Brother Voodoo. I'm going to say Ely. I'm probably wrong. Brother Voodoo. I feel like he'd fill that role. Method Man. I feel like he could be a good Brother Voodoo. I don't know how he would fare in the Marvel Universe. But I think Michael Ealy would be a great idea for that. Dracula. I honestly think, this is my take, the Blade movie, they were going to go with Lilith as the main antagonist. I think that they should do Dracula. Blade vs. Dracula. Everybody wants to see that. Release it around Halloween. That would be sick. That would be amazing. And put Anthony Starr from The Boys. I think he would be perfect as Dracula. Just imagine that. Dracula look and then Anthony Starr behind the makeup. Perfect. Moving on. Sunspot. I think Dev Patel plays this amazingly well. I think he would be great for this. You know, just the way he is. And he's a great actor. Monkey Man was a great movie. Still, Dev Patel. Great actor. I think he'd play this role well. Okay, Baldur the Brave. If they ever add this for the Thor movie, Daniel Craig for Baldur the Brave. He's rumored heavily, especially for Thor Love and Thunder. Before it was Thor Love and Thunder and before they brought in Gore the God Butcher. Daniel Craig, I feel like he could play this role pretty well. He's the only one I could think of because it's such a smaller character. Even though it is a smaller character, I feel like Daniel Craig would be good here. Amadeus Cho, Nutley would be a great casting. We need Amadeus Cho sooner rather than later. We know Mark Ruffalo is not going to be around for a long time. She-Hulk didn't perform that well. And we need Amadeus Cho. Scar wasn't too big of a liking by many fans when he appeared in She-Hulk. But I think we need Amadeus Cho. He needs to be able to take over the Hulk mantle sooner rather than later if Hulk's not going to be around too much longer. Blue Marvel. Okay, so another smaller character. He's a good character, but another one that's not very heard of. Denzel. I know Denzel's been casted in the Black Panther. Nobody knows for sure who he's going to be. There's been rumors he's going to be a smaller character as the villain named Achibe. But I think he'd be great as Blue Marvel. I know he was rumored in the past before. Next is going to be Method Man. Method Man, I feel like would be good as well. You know, there's not many people I can think of for these roles. But I do think either Denzel or Method Man would be good for these roles. Mainly Denzel, though. Jubilee, Lana Condor. I believe she played Jubilee in the past. I think this is where we go with it. Not going to have a lot of insight on this one. I just think that's kind of the perfect role. Arcade, if we ever add him. I don't think we will. Eddie Redmayne. I think he'd be great. Ben Foster and Matt Feist. Any of these guys would be great for Arcade. You know, kind of a silly, quirky villain. A criminal mastermind with his own arcade kind of underground world. That's where we got to go. Two kind of Tarzan kind of characters. Khazar and Akron. Ryan Hurst for both. Or one of them. You know, I don't think they're ever going to add these two in. They are from the older Marvel side. But I think he would play either of them really well. Bishop for the X-Men. This is needed. I think Jonathan Boyega is going to take this one. Quentin Jackson could be good too. Jonathan Boyega has been recently rumored. I think he filled the Bishop role pretty well. He hasn't been in anything recently that I know of. I know he was pretty good in Star Wars, and I think that would be great. Superior Iron Man. Okay, I think this is for Secret Wars. If the universe that the X-Men come in has some sort of Iron Man variation, or if Doctor Doom creates a, like a Doom team with like a Captain Hydra, evil Black Widow, some sort of stuff, like an evil Iron Man. I think superior Iron Man, Tom Cruise, is perfect. Tom Cruise is supposed to be Iron Man even before Robert Downey Jr. There was just conflicts with Mission Impossible movies. I think Tom Cruise would be great. He's been rumored so much for taking this superior Iron Man role if they ever add him in. I think it'd be great. Charlie 27. Okay, I know he's been in Guardians of the Galaxy, if you guys know. He was a smaller character in the background in the kind of end of the movie. I think it was post-credit scene with Sylvester Stallone as Starhawk. Alan Richardson would be great for this role. Charlie 27, super small character. Probably not ever going to add him in. I like this idea, though. Puppet Master for the Fantastic Four movies. He was mentioned in Fantastic Four First Steps. I like Daniel Day-Lewis. It's the only one I can really think of. Puppet Master's a very chaotic, psychotic character. Kind of creates his enemies, so Fantastic Four characters, as clay molded puppets, and he can control them. Kind of, the Puppet Master. I think Daniel Day-Lewis would play this role fantastic. Sabretooth, Joel Edgerton. He's been heavily rumored. I think he'd play it great. He almost looks like Levi Schreiber in a way nowadays. I think he'd be great for the role. Norman Osborn. Bob Odenkirk or Coleman Domingo. I think they're great. Coleman Domingo has been rumored a lot about this role. I like it. I like Bob Odenkirk more. I think he can fill that so well. Chameleon, Matt Reeves. I don't know if they'll add Chameleon. It's a kind of a shot in the dark. I know he was just in the Craven movie. I actually like the CGI on him. He looked chameleon accurate. He looked comic accurate. Matt Rice would be good. Or even the actor that they had in Craven, who was also in Gladiator. I like that too. I don't mind it. Pyro, for the X-Men side. Ben Foster. Great actor. I think he would fill this really well. Owl, small character. He was mentioned but not comic represented in the Jessica Jones Netflix TV show. I think Michael Shannon as Owl. He's a smaller kind of character, street level. I think he'd be great. Zack. This is a more of a cosmic villain. I think Steve Buscemi can voice him pretty well. I think that'd be a good idea. Steve Buscemi's got that kind of like a scratchy voice, which I feel like would be good for this kind of character. Just the look of it. Mr. Fear. Okay, Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Mr. Fear has been heavily rumored as the main villain. I like Matthew Lillard. I know he got signed on for Season 2. Don't know what role. I think this is it. People were saying that he could be the real Muse and that the Muse in Season 1 was a wannabe. I think it's Mr. Fear. I think he can play it well. He was in Scream. He was in Five Nights at Freddy's. I think this is who he needs to play by far. Gladiator. Cosmic character. He's part of the Annihilators. Same with Quasar and Silver Surfer. Gladiator. I think Henry Cavill or Jonathan Bailey. I like Jonathan Bailey for this role. I think he can play it well. He's kind of got the look. He's a built actor. Great actor. I think that's where we go. Storm. Cynthia Erivo. I think she'd be great. I've seen fan casting for her. Kitty Pryde, Margaret Qualley, or Daisy Edgar-Jones, or even Millie Bobby Brown. I think these are great castings. Daisy Edgar-Jones has that look. I think that's where we go. Squirrel Girl, another small character. Don't think they'll ever add her. She was a possible for a Marvel movie or a show. I think Anna Kendrick would be good. Kind of got that quirky attitude, funny, joking. Mystique. Okay. I like both of these. Hunter Schafer's been heavily rumored. Jodie Comer. I think she'd be perfect. I think either of them would be perfect. Hunter Schafer's been heavily rumored for Mystique. I think either of them would be great. Ares. What I want out of Thor 5. What I want is Thor fights Hercules because of the Zeus thing. Find out they have to team up because there's a bigger threat. And it's Ares. I want either film Richard Armitage or Jai Courtney. I think Jai Courtney would play it great. Jai Courtney would be amazing as Ares. Any of these guys would be great, the role of Ares. And then the last two, Emma Frost. Emma Frost is going to be big in the new X-Men. I think Margaret Robbie or Jodie Comer. I think they're going to be great. Probably Jodie Comer. I think she'd be really good for this. She's got the look. Of course, Margaret Robbie. I love Margaret Robbie. She's a great actress. She's been in a lot. But I think they're going to go for somebody younger, such as Jodie Comer. And then Mr. Negative. This is who I think and who I want the big bad of Spider-Man Brand New Day to be. Stephen Oyoung. I'm pretty sure, I believe heavily that he was the voice actor and was represented as Mr. Negative in the Spider-Man video games, the Miles Morales video game. I think he would be great. It's going to go well. He played it really good in the Spider-Man games. I think this is where we go. That's majority of my fan casting, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any other ideas, anybody you disliked, I'm all ears for you guys' opinions, so just leave them down in the comments. Love your opinions. I love talking about this stuff as much as I can. There's going to be more because there's 100,000s of different characters. There's never going to be no fan casting, especially with the new recasting of Iron Man and Captain America. Alright guys, feel free to hit that subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.